They're very aggressive. And I think one thing for Nicole May to understand is that they can come in here, they're going to attack. You've got to stay within the strike zone, but you've got to be careful.
Sophomore Ailana Agbayani takes the first pitch for a called strike. We're underway. And Agbayani really and truly kind of a leader for this BYU offense, hitting .418 on the season, and that is launched to the left center field gap. Agbayani's on her horse, and she's going to slide in safely at second for a leadoff double to start the game for BYU. As if on cue, talking about being a leader, Agbayani setting the tone for BYU.
Exactly, and I think that's exactly what Coach Eakin expects of her. He wants her to come in, be aggressive, get a pitch you can work with, find your way on. Finding that gap is huge. Leadoff double, that's a big deal.
Senior lefty Maddie Bejarano hacking first pitch, and a miscue in foul territory by Alyssa Brito, and what felt like a little bit of a gift, and that's not a mistake you see Alyssa Brito make very often.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic for Brito to drop that ball. Those are the plays you can't really afford against an offense like BYU.
And wild pitch gets away. Agbayani is going to move up to third, and just like that, the Cougars are threatening here in the top of the first. And you get the feeling this Sooner defense needs to take a breath.
Yeah. See Kinsey Hansen kind of come out of the box and try to settle the defense.
A good shot of Coach Gasso in her 30th season. 810 winning percentage. And Bejarano taking some good hacks at the plate.
I think one thing I've seen already is they're not letting any good pitches go by.
And we talked about it, Destiny. This is a BYU offense that really and truly got shut down in game one.
Yeah.
Very uncharacteristic of what the Cougars can do offensively. The 1-2 is lifted to left field. Agbayani tags. Here comes the throw. And BYU takes an early lead, 1-0. And one thing we did not see from the Cougars last night was applying pressure. And they have changed the tone here early in game two.
Yeah, they have come out. They have attacked. They are taking advantage of the good pitches. They are being smart on the base paths. That throw just off the plate a little bit, but Agbayani had a great jump over at third. She was going to be safe regardless.
A sack fly brings up Zavodnik, and she takes the first pitch in the helmet. Rolled into it and thankfully looks to be okay, but things in disarray a little bit for the Sooners here early as Kinsey Hansen makes her way out to the circle, and that's what you need to see from the leader. You've got to calm some things down.
Yeah, I think just the intensity of this game has kind of been elevated from the jump. I think if you just got to relax a little bit. We see Coach Rocha coming out.
And at this point, if you blinked, you missed it. BYU on top, 1-0. As associate head coach Jen Rocha is just having a chat with her battery. And what adjustment do you feel like Nicole needs to make here early?
You know, I think she's staying within the zone. I think she's just seeing that these hitters are a lot more aggressive than we saw last night. Coach Rocha has probably identified the same thing. So you've got to find the holes in their swing.
And this is a BYU team who has a lot of production in the top half of their lineup. We spoke a lot about it last night, but 1 through 5 hitters in this lineup have really been the table setters and run producers for the Cougars. 6 through 9, a little bit of a different story. As 4-hole hitter Hunter Ava stands in with a runner at first and 1 out. And nice location from May to open up the count. Ava 0 for 2 in game 1, but has been an RBI machine for the Cougars with 49 on the season. And Nicole May, and a plus count here. No balls and 2 strikes. And ground ball, opportunity to roll 2, but not going to happen as we see a little miscommunication up the middle. And the fielder's choice will make it 2 outs for the Sooners.
It's a little uncharacteristic of this OU defense. You see Nicole receive this and just know she's got to go 2 on that with the holdup of Tiare.
In. Owens, the lone hit for BYU in game 1. The 1-0 loops in for a called strike, and nice change of speeds from May. And grounded to the left side. Jennings will fire it across, and that'll do it, but not before BYU strikes first. We head to the bottom of the first. Cougars up 1-0. This is OU Softball, presented by OU Health.
Yesterday, so what we can expect from her is she's a lefty. She's got a drop, change, curve. She's going to be able to spot the rise, but she's also 63 to 67 miles per hour.
So a little more zip coming from Mares. As I'm looking at her line, the thing that stands out to me is the base on balls number.
Yes, lots of walks.
46 walks in 59 innings pitched. And walks have been a problem for this BYU staff, and we saw it in game 1 as well, as Jada Coleman is set to lead it off. Sooner fans on their feet. And a packed house here at Loves Field. Gotta love it. Suarez rocks and fires, and behind here 2 balls and no strikes. And there's a look at the OU starting lineup. And Cassidy Pickering, the freshman, had a heck of a night in game 1, going 2 for 3. Had a solo shot and just really coming back strong after hitting a little bit of a slump, shall I say. But the freshman really doing a good job.
Yes. Cassidy Pickering, she's been on fire. I think it's tough to say slump when you're in this lineup. It's just not typical, you know, OU, what you typically see from these hitters. But still, great hitter. She came in, went opposite field on a long ball last night. We're seeing some good things out of the freshmen. Ella Parker doing great things. Cassidy Pickering doing great things.
It's the 2-0 to Coleman. Just misses upstairs, and what has been an Achilles heel for this BYU pitching staff. Mares behind here, 3 balls and no strikes to start the bottom half of the first. And it is a 4-pitch walk to Jada Coleman.
These are the things that you cannot afford with this OU offense.
Tiare Jennings stands in.
Talking to Coach Eakin, we asked, what is your defensive approach to winning this game? And he's, you got to limit the free passes. You've got to be solid on defense. But for his pitching staff, you've got to stay within the zone. Keep the ball down and hopefully roll up some ground balls.
And BYU not really having an opportunity to defend much in game 1. It's the 1-0 is in for called strike 1, and Mares finds the zone there. But there's two things you can't defend. You can't defend home runs and you can't defend walks. And that's really what we've seen from this BYU staff, who is young but very talented. So just needing to get in the zone and let pitches work. Catcher Haley Morrow slowing things down a bit. Jennings 0 for 2 in game 1, but did draw a walk. The 1-2's grounded to the left side, and they're going to get Coleman at first, or excuse me, at second for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Alyssa Brito. And it looks like there may be a conversation being had. Jada Coleman kind of pointing to the foot.
It looks as if Jada Coleman kind of came in a little hot to break up that play. That may have been what that conversation was about. Just making sure she's okay.
And junior second baseman Kayla Kamoku hanging tough. And good job by the freshman getting a little ground ball out of Jennings to get the lead out. Brito stands in. Brito, a little bit of a tough night in game 1.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. A little bit of a rough night yesterday. We saw, you know, the change in velocity that we saw last night was pretty tough on some of these hitters.
That pitch gets away. Jennings going to move up into scoring position and represent the tying run here in the bottom of the first.
It's a big adjustment when you see velocity come off of a pitcher. You've got to make adjustments as a hitter. You've got to be very patient in the box.
One bounces, but Jennings will stay put. And Morrow falls behind 2 balls and a strike.
Really good job by Morrow behind the plate. Just keeping that ball in front.
And you talked about it, Destiny, a little bit, seeing that change of tempo. And how much of that in game 1 do you feel like can be attested to seeing multiple pitchers? I mean, this OU offense saw 3 BYU pitchers last night.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty typical. We've seen a lot of teams come in with that approach purposely. I think last night in this BYU defense, or pitching staff specifically, a couple of their pitchers are under pitch counts, so they're having to kind of mix in. But I think it's a good approach, whether or not you're on a pitch count or not, you're dealing with injuries or not. It's a good approach to have against this OU lineup.
Mara is one of the only pitchers on this BYU staff who did not enter the game last night. Looking to work out of a jam here as she fires the 3-2 and misses in the dirt. 2 walks in the inning delivered from Mares. And let's go ahead and take a look at our Riverwind keys to the game.
For BYU, they've got to limit the free passes. We've talked about that already. The walks are not going to help. It's going to put them in bad situations. And for OU, I'd love to see them pass the torch. I think last night we saw some timely hits that were able to put some runs on the board, but I'd love to see them capitalize on the freebies.
Kamoku trying to turn a pair, and Parker is going to beat it out. Kamoku making a good play up the middle to take care of Brito. That'll put runners at first and third and 2 outs for Kinsey Hansen. And you can see this BYU defense trying to put some things in order, preparing for the first and third. Ella Parker will take off. She leads the team in stolen bases. 13 for 14 on the season. Kinsey Hansen an opportunity to tie this ball game up after the Sooners were punched in the top half of this inning, and it happened quick. BYU jumping on top after a lead-off double to start the game. And Mara's behind here, 2 balls and a strike. And Destiny, I want to go back to your key. Limit the free passes, and we've already seen 2 here in this inning.
Yeah. And last night we saw, a free pass and then a home run, a free pass, and, OU was really capitalizing on that. I'd like to see them manufacture their own, stuff on their own.
Jennings at third represents the tying run. Here comes the 2-1. Parker's going to take off. She is in a rundown in between first and third, and that will do it. BYU spoils the first and third play, and they get out of it. We get to the top of the second. BYU on top, 1-0. This is OU softball.
Underneath.
6, 7, 8. Due up for BYU is sophomore Maddie Udall, the DP. Phoenix, Arizona native, and has got a good swing. She sticking with the game plan of absolutely coming out hacking. BYU has been aggressive so far in game 2.
After game 1, I think that's one thing that they're easily able to adjust.
And that's hit well to the right side. Pickering's on her horse, and she's going to make the diving catch. Gotta love the smiles coming from the freshman. Stealing a hit away from Udall to bring up Kaylee Kamoku.
Pickering covering so much ground. You could see where she started and where that ball took her. Just laying it out.
And another opportunity here. Pickering back at the wall, but it's going to carry out of here. And there's that BYU power that we have been talking so much about. As with one swing of the bat, Kamoku makes it 2-zip Cougars. And we've known this BYU offense has power. They've got pop. We didn't see much of it last night. BYU making some adjustments at the plate.
Yes, you can definitely see that. I saw it in the first inning. They are just coming out attacking. Again, they have nothing to lose. She sees that ball down and out, and she's able to just send it opposite field.
Takes the first pitch she sees for strike 1. What kind of vibe you getting from the Sooners so far in this game, Destiny? It feels tense.
It feels very tense, but I feel like the tempo is not, I don't feel like they came out and set the tempo. I think BYU came out and attacked and has set the tempo at a quicker pace than what OU is typically comfortable with.
Big hack from Morrow.
In the first inning, we see Agbayani come out with a double. We see a mishap from Brito. We see miscommunication from Jennings and Hodge. Those aren't things that you typically see with this OU defense.
Morrow stays alive, just got enough. Morrow, 195 hitter on the year. A nice location from May. 2-2's popped up and gonna sneak out of play. Almost a great catch by a fan. We've seen some big time. We talk so much about the big time plays we see on the field. We've seen some big time plays in the stands here at Love's Field.
Yes, we have seen some great plays.
He brings the 2-2 and just misses outside. Great discipline by Morrow, and one thing we've seen just in this at-bat, the river's not happening today.
But there is some consistency there, so that's good.
The 3-2 misses low, and Morrow draw a one-out walk to bring up the senior, Aaliyah Agbayani. That is just the 18th walk delivered by May so far on the season. Not something we see often from Nicole. Agbayani shows bunt. Senior did not get the start in game one, but getting an opportunity here tonight. Her little sister, Ailana Agbayani, waits on deck. Coach Eakin wants to have a little chat.
It's a good opportunity to lay down a bunt, just move your runner, put some pressure on the defense.
And there's a good look at Coach Gordon Eakin in his 22nd season at BYU, and has led this program to numerous regionals, conference titles. In their first year in the Big 12, as this is popped up on the infield, Jennings is underneath it to glove it, and that's a big out. And you just said it, Destiny, find a way to move a runner, and that's not going to get it done.
They've got to be able to produce runs. Just, again, you've got to pass the torch. I know we said that as the keys for OU, but when you're given an opportunity and you have runners on, BYU is they struggle a little bit moving runners.
This is laced to left field, but Riley Boone is going to take care of it. But not after BYU adds another one to it. They're up 2-0 as we head to the bottom of the second. This is OU softball presented by OU Health. Tiare Jennings going on an absolute tear this season.
Just setting records, just climbing the leaderboards.
And just going about her business, right? Just consistent. Exciting to see her bring some of that to the USA national team. Kinsey Hansen, a part of that group as well, and looking to get something moving offensively here for the Sooners as they trail BYU 2-0. And Mara has a hit here, no balls and 2 strikes.
I don't know about that call. That's that location that was kind of questionable. It's been a ball all day, so we'll see. Keep an eye on it.
Destiny, I think you and I would agree on this. Thing about strike zones, it just has to be consistent.
Yeah.
And it has to be established early. Just in the second inning here in this ball game, but wanting to see that strike zone get established is Kinsey Hansen. Lines it right back up the middle, and it's a leadoff single.
Great piece of hitting by Kinsey Hansen. Kind of just throwing that bat out there, finding a way to make contact.
Leadoff hit will bring up the freshman Cassidy Pickering, and had a heck of a night here last night in game 1. Hit a solo bomb and went 2 for 3. freshman just has such poise at the plate.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed her. Just watching her settle in. She seems so confident in the box. Very comfortable.
The 0-2 is going to get away from Morrow. Hansen's going to take off, and the throw is not in time. Morrow getting worked behind the plate a little bit today.
She is getting worked, and that was a really great read by Kinsey Hansen, just getting out and seeing that ball just jump off Morrow and taking that opportunity. See, she never stopped her feet.
1-2 misses low. Sophomore catcher Haley Morrow has done a great job handling what a little bit of a young BYU pitching staff. And a mix of speeds is going to sit down Pickering on strikes to bring up Avery Hodge. But talk about making a pitch by Mares.
What a pitch. And a great count to do it in. Just keeping Pickering off balance. She was not expecting.
Avery Hodge lines it right back at Mares. And it's going to get thrown out at first base. Off the ricochet. And Lily Owens making a fantastic play.
See Coach Gasso looking to Fale steal for some confirmation on should we review that, should we not? Fale steal said no. We're going to let that one go.
Hansen moves up to third on the play. And Gianna Mares thankfully looks to be okay because line drive right back at her. But what a heads-up play by Lily Owens to make it 2 outs for BYU as Sydney Sanders stands in.
It's a close play.
And I think Coach Steele was right in saying, don't waste the review.
Keeping that ball on target.
Just no hesitation.
Yeah.
And you can't when you've got Avery Hodge going down the line.
It's got to be perfect.
So big-time defensive play for BYU. And an opportunity to get out of another jam. Here for Gianna Mares as she fires the 1-1. And Sydney Sanders, big night last night, 1 for 2, but hit the 3-run walk-off shot to end the ball game in run rule fashion in the 5th. The 2-1 is launched down the right field line. If it stays fair, it's gone, but just arches around that foul pole. And Mares, a strike away from getting out of back-to-back innings with runners in scoring position. She fires the 2-2. And foul tipped. Morrow not able to hang on to it. That would have been a big time out. But we'll do the 2-2 again. Sanders stays alive. Represents the tying run in this game. BYU has put up a run in each inning. Not a spot the Sooner team's used to being in often, trailing 2-0 here in the second. Ground ball to Agbayani, and that will do it. BYU works around another runner in scoring position. We head to the top of the third. This is Sooner Softball presented by OU Health. And you said it earlier, Destiny, it feels like BYU has set the tempo of this game. And I feel like we're seeing it on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I think it feels like OU's just kind of just trying to keep up with the pace of the game, and BYU's just coming out swinging. They're coming out aggressive.
A little bit of extra zip behind that rise ball as May gets ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Bejarano, a .344 hitter on the season. One of the many lefties in this lineup. Nicole May looking to hang the first 0 of this ball game. BYU put up a run in the first. A solo home run in the second to make it 2-0, and Bejarano staying alive. So the count remains no balls and 2 strikes, and just taking absolute hacks, and sometimes to me looking like at pitches that might be a little bit out of the zone.
Yeah, I think, you know, they're having to keep themselves alive until they get a good pitch that they can work with, but they're fouling some stuff off just to stay in the box.
Nicole May. A couple of free passes in this game. And she fires the 1-2. Now as we get deeper into this game, what type of adjustment do you want to see from May in the circle?
I think for May, just work ahead in the counts. Get these hitters to chase and miss. I think we've seen a lot of chasing, but they're still fouling some stuff off. She's got to find the holes in their swings. And I think painting the corners. You know, I feel like she's either in the zone to where they can handle it, or it's a ball. She's got to find that in between.
Payoff pitch to Bejarano, misses outside, and it's a leadoff walk to start the third. And what an at-bat by Maddie Bejarano, working back from an 0-2 count to draw the walk. I bring up senior Violet Zavodnik, and that is the third free pass issued by May in this game. Zavodnik hit by a pitch back in the first inning.
Bejarano, you know, really working that count. That was a 9-pitch at bat with 4 foul balls.
See Kinsey Hansen head out to have a chat with Nicole May, and you can see Kinsey Hansen has managed this staff, Nicole May. I mean, they've been together a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, she knows when things are working and when things look just a hair off.
Yeah.
You know, if I trust anyone's opinion on how things are going with the pitchers, it's Kinsey Hansen.
Yeah. And, I mean, that is the 6th straight ball from Nicole May this inning.
Behind here, 2 balls and no strikes. Zavodnik laces this into left center field. It's going to get down. Bejarano is going to stand up at third as Zavodnik has a double, and BYU threatening again here in the third with runners at second and third. And going through the meat of this lineup, nobody out.
It's a really solid piece of hitting, just with the count and understanding.
To bring up Hunter Ava, and here comes associate head coach Jen Rocha to have a chat with May and this defense. And I want to go back to, Destiny, you're talking about Zavodnik taking advantage of the 2-0 pitch. And the location coming from May, trying to get back in the count.
Yeah.
Got to hit a little bit of a better corner than that.
Yeah, you've got to find a spot where that does not happen. You cannot allow that. But, I mean, that was right after she threw 6 straight balls. So working your way back in, but for Zavodnik to have the confidence to say, I don't care what the count is, I don't care how many balls you've thrown. If you throw me a pitch I can work with, I'm going to take advantage of it.
We talked a ton about this BYU offense and how dangerous they can be, and we did not see it in game one. Kelly Maxwell absolutely shut down BYU. Nicole May struggling a little bit here early. He's thrown 42 pitches. If he were looking, 15 balls, but a lot of those have come here in the third inning.
Yeah. And I think with Kelly Maxwell, I didn't see as many swings. I didn't feel that they were as aggressive.
Maxwell throwing a 1-hit shutout in game one. And you feel like BYU went back to the hotel, took a look at film, and said, listen, we've got to change this game plan a little bit. And we have seen it since pitch one from the Cougars. Absolutely aggressive and taking hacks. And senior Hunter Ava, no different. Nicole May ahead here, no balls and 2 strikes, but Ava staying aggressive in the box. Nobody out, and runners at second and third. The 0-2 misses outside, but quality location.
Yeah, it's a good location for Nicole May. I think she's really got to find it here. She's got to find those spots that are being called, but not being fouled off.
And talk about a location. Nicole May spots up to sit down Hunter Ava on strikes. And there's a big-time pitch coming from the senior.
Big-time pitch and perfectly placed right over.
It's such a huge out of Hunter Ava, who leads BYU in RBI at 49. Sooners not out of it yet, with a couple of ducks on the pond for Lily Owens. Owens 0 for 1 here tonight, but had the lone hit in game one. And May behind here, 2 balls and no strikes.
This is a big opportunity for BYU to really get some safety runs. You want to see them get on the board a couple more times. They've got to score their runners. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, just how many runners they leave on base. They've got to be able to execute, score these 2 runs. Puts them in a really good spot against this OU offense.
Walking into this game here this evening, BYU had left 37 runners on base in their previous 5 games, as this is skied high to center field. Bejarano is tagging. She will take off. Here comes the throw, and Bejarano is safe at home plate. And the sacrifice fly from Lily Owens makes it 3-0 BYU. And really and truly, throw was on the money from Jada Coleman, but just textbook, not a lot you can do.
Yeah, there's nothing you could do about that. Deep fly ball. Jada Coleman played it really well, stayed behind the ball, kept her momentum coming into the play. just too long of a throw to.
And Cougars have at this point scored in every inning in this ball game. As sophomore Maddie Udall stands in, flew out to right field back in the second. I say flew out. Cassie Pickering robbed a hit from Maddie Udall back in the second. And Avery Hodge will take care of it, and that'll do it. But not before BYU strikes again, makes it 3-0. We head to the bottom half of the... Riley Boone hitting .444 on the year. Shows bunt, it's gonna just roll foul. Like the idea, but not getting the execution.
I do like that idea. I think, Mars has done a pretty good job of letting her defense work behind her. But that's a play we haven't seen them have to make yet. With the speed of Boone, putting something down like that, being in control, creating some momentum for this OU offense, that would have been huge.
Riley Boone trying to get a little bit of momentum in that Sooner dugout. It's been all Cougars so far, as this is laced into center field, and it's going to get down in front of Zavodnik, and Riley Boone is aboard with a leadoff single to bring up Jada Coleman.
Doesn't matter how you do it. Just get yourself on base, create some momentum. That's why she's in that 9 hole.
And Jada Coleman drew a walk to start the game back in the first, but that on-base plus slugging, Jada Coleman, Jennings, Brito, Sanders, all leading. Unreal as you're looking through, but leading in the Big 12. And what this team does, not just with the power, but just finding ways to get on base.
And I mean, that's leading the Big 12. I don't know how you go into this as a pitcher, having to pitch to that lineup. It's just a never-ending cycle of who you have to face.
And getting all that production, Coleman, Jennings, Brito, 1, 2, 3 in the OU batting lineup. I'm going to talk about table setters. They got a few. And let's not even talk about the fact that Riley Boone in the 9 hole
also is a table setter.
Just hitting nearly .450. Coleman stays alive. Got a bit fooled.
That one kind of caught her off guard. Just put a bat on it. Stay alive.
Mares going through this Sooner lineup for the second time, and this is popped up to left field, and Bejarano is going to get under it, and huge out by the freshman Mares to sit down Jada Coleman. And I want to go back to one of your keys, Destiny, pass the torch. Not something we've seen the Sooners do so far in this ballgame.
Yeah, we have not seen a lot of it, really, last night either. We saw some timely hits with some freebies, but I'd love to see, when Riley Boone gets on, Jada Coleman, keep him alive. Tiare Jennings, keep it going. Alyssa Brito.
Jennings laces this into center field, but Zavodnik flash in the leather, and just like that, BYU's got 2 outs on the board, and Alyssa Brito at the plate. But I've got to say, I've really been impressed with the freshman.
She has done a really good job. She's produced quite a few pop-ups, allowing her defense to work with her.
Brito drew a walk back in the first inning. 2 walks delivered by Mares in the game so far. Both came in the first, was able to work around both, and has settled in nicely. But behind here, 2 balls and no strikes. Boone at first base. 2-0. And Morrow's behind here, 3 balls and no strikes.
I think Brito's got the green light here. What do you think?
I like where your head's at. I think down 3-0, maybe not. Move anyway, as it's a 4-pitch walk to Alyssa Brito to bring up Ella Parker. And I feel like we've talked about this ad nauseum, Destiny, but if there has been one issue with BYU pitching, it has been free passes. 3 delivered by Mares here in this game. But as a pitcher, you hate to see the 2-out walk, especially after getting 2 quick outs of Coleman and Jennings. But an opportunity here for Ella Parker, who represents the tying run in this game. Parker grounded in to a fielder's choice in the first inning.
That is one thing Coach Eakin really talked a lot about, is he knows that there's quite a few walks given up amongst his pitching staff. He said, you know, in order for us to have a chance, we've got to limit the freebies.
The walk to Brito marks Mares' 49th walk on the year. And behind here, 2 balls and a strike to the freshman Parker. And a dangerous place to be as catcher Haley Morrow heads out to have a chat with her pitcher. And you can't blame her. I mean, Mares has been really good in this game.
Yeah, seeing a little bit of body language changing, though. The more balls that we've seen, we're starting to see a little bit more frustration.
You feel like this is a moment, this is a turning point moment in this ball game.
This is a good opportunity for Ella Parker to keep it alive. You want to maintain the momentum, keep the fans engaged, keep the spark going for your offense. Doesn't have to be a home run. You just find your way on. Pass the torch. Keep it rolling.
And on the other side of the coin is Coach Eakin wraps things up. And that's actually Pete Meredith, the BYU associate head coach. But as we talk about the Sooners trying to gain momentum, same thing for BYU. Mares has really worked around some jams and has kept this offense at bay, and it is another walk in the inning to load the bases for Kinsey Hansen.
We talk about the momentum. Like you said, on both sides of the plate, it can really get something going for this OU offense. But if Mars is able to put a hitter like Kinsey Hansen away in this situation, that will fire up this defense, send them right back into the dugout, and give them some momentum into their next at-bats.
Only 2 hits for OU on the night. Hansen has one of them, and this is a dribbler in front of Owens. Boone is going to score. No one is able to make a play anywhere, and it's an infield RBI hit for Kinsey Hansen. And Sooners are on the board.
Kind of an interesting play here. Kinsey just had a little miss.
And Owens, and rightfully so, bases loaded, 2 outs. Kinsey Hansen at the plate, playing nearly even a little bit behind third base. Not a lot you can do. And just like that, it's 3-1 as Pickering stands in with bases loaded and 2 outs. Pickering, a strikeout victim, back in the second. Sooners sparking a rally with 2 outs. And Ella Parker representing the tying run at second base. And Mara's really starting to fall behind hitters. It's a dangerous place to live.
Just getting a little antsy in the circle, feeling the pressure. This environment is erupting.
Mars has thrown 60 pitches in this ball game, nearly 50-50 on balls and strikes. Big moment here. Bases loaded, full count, 2 outs. Payoff pitch from Mares, floats in for ball 4. And Pickering draws the walk to make it 3-2. I'll say this, you can't get much more anticlimactic than these 2 runs that have been scored. But a good at-bat by the freshman. Avery Hodge, an opportunity to tie this ball game up. Hit the ball hard her first at-bat.
I feel like Mars has really accepted this challenge. We saw her body language kind of change from comfortable to a little frustrated. Now I'm seeing her really get competitive out there.
And ahead here, no balls and 2 strikes. And Mares was really ticked off about the ball 4 called at Pickering.
Yeah.
You could see it. And it was a gutsy pitch. Off speed, 3-2. She just threw the off speed again in for a called strike. Not in much of a different location as this is skied high to left field. Bejarano is going to get underneath it. And BYU works out of it, but not before the Sooners get a couple back. It's 3-2 as we go to the 4th. This is OU softball presented by OU Health.
Get them back in the game, limit these runs. We've seen them, BYU scored in every inning with Nicole May pitching. So I'd love to see Kirsten Deal be able to kind of come in and shut that down and allow them a chance to score some more runs.
And May struggling to find the zone as Kamoku skies it high to right field, and 1 pitch, 1 out for Kirsten Deal as she has entered this game. And looking to be the stopper for the Sooners, the Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And Deal has been tremendous this season, 8-0 on the season. And more than that, we've seen Deal in just a number of different roles. Starting games, coming in out of the bullpen, and she's really been good when she's just been thrust into games and needing to kind of be that spark.
Yeah. I think most of the pitching staff, I think Kelly Maxwell's really been able to show herself in a full game.
Hit well to left field and off the wall. Here comes Morrow, and it's a double. And another extra base hit for BYU.
You see that pitch just left up in the zone. That's a miss from Kirsten Deal.
I'll say this, playing it off the wall, Jada Coleman textbook. Trying to get the throw in, throw a little bit errant, but if that throw's on the money, we could have had a play at second.
Great job by Jada Coleman playing it off the wall. I think the throw needed to be a little bit more under control, but I think playing it off the wall, and we talked about it a little bit, they don't get to practice here. So understanding how that wall plays off, Jada Coleman did a great job putting herself in position to throw as she's receiving that ball off the wall.
Aaliyah Agbayani, a 9-hole hitter, popped out to short in her first at-bat. But Deal behind here, 2 balls and no strikes. Deal entering this game, trying to keep this BYU offense at bay, scoring every inning, putting up 1 run in the first, the second, and the third. And the Sooners trail 3-2. And if we look at anything, Destiny, on both sides of the ball, BYU pitching, OU pitching, working behind in the count has been killer.
Yeah, we've seen that all game long.
And another free pass issued as Agbayani is hit by the pitch. And that'll roll it back over to the top of the lineup in Ailana Agbayani. Ailana Agbayani, the younger sister of Aaliyah, who's at first base. And the leading hitter for BYU, the runner in scoring position, and you got to be careful here as Kinsey Hansen heads out to have a chat with Deal.
They've got to find the zone. And it's tough because you know that they're coming out swinging. They're protecting themselves. Any pitch that's even near the zone, they're wanting to foul it off. They're being so aggressive. But Deal's got to come in and work ahead in the count. She's got to trust her defense.
4 free passes delivered by OU pitching here so far in this game. 2 walks and 2 hit by pitch. And Nicole May got the start. And just having a hard time, not necessarily finding the zone, but hitting those quality spots. Deal fires the 1-1. BYU looking to answer the 2 runs that OU put up in the bottom of the third. And in a good spot to do it. Ailana Agbayani. Agbayani hitting .419 in on the year. Had a double and came around to score back in the first and really set the tone for BYU in this game in her first at bat.
Yeah, coming in, sending that double to left center field, really setting that tone. That's not something we saw yesterday. So I think, and we talked a little bit about the tempo and how quick everything kind of happened in that first inning. I feel like they're still trying to catch up to the timing of everything and the tempo that's been set. BYU offense has not taken a break. I feel like every foul ball is very aggressive. Everybody's on their toes.
Payoff pitch from Deal. Line shot, and that's going to get down. One run will score. Agbayani slides into second for her second double of the day. And BYU just keeps striking. Puts up their fourth run in the ballgame. They have now scored in every inning here at Love's Field to make it 4-2 BYU.
A really good piece of hitting. We saw her go opposite field with her first double of the game, now sending it.
That is her 24th RBI on the season. And that'll bring up senior Maddie Bejarano with a pair in scoring position. Bejarano, a big sac fly, and drew a walk.
We'll have to look through these game notes, but I can't think of a game that OU allowed a run in every inning.
It's been a while. And I'll say this, BYU absolutely just having a good time with what they're doing. I mean, I'm watching the dugout and every single Cougar up on their feet and invested. So 1-2 to Bejarano. Little squib. Play at the plate is going to throw out Agbayani by a couple feet. And Sooners get a little bit of a gift there.
Great heads-up play by Brito, seeing that Agbayani is taking off to the plate, making that play at home. We see some...
Look at Ailana Agbayani, who is still standing at second base, going, you should be standing at third.
Yeah, we saw him look over, and that is a play that could cost them an extra run. Agbayani's got to be standing at third base on that. When there's a play at home, her sister drew the throw. Got to make sure that you advance when you're given that opportunity against this team.
And a little bit of movement. The lineup card is out. And does not look like we're going to see a pinch hitter, but I get the feeling we may see a pinch runner. Senior Violet Zavodnik is due up at the plate. And I stand corrected. We are going to have a pinch hitter in Tristan Turlington. And what would be Violet Zavodnik's spot. And Turlington on the year, a .240 hitter. And getting an opportunity here to extend this BYU lead. And what has been the story for every Cougar that comes to the plate? Hack and first pitch.
Yeah. I think with this OU pitching staff, there's not a lot of wild pitches. There's not a lot of bad pitches out of the zone. So if they can attack and find a way to connect slightly, foul something off.
Deal looking to minimize the damage here in the fourth, as BYU's gotten one back to make it 4-2.
Thought that was going to come back in our booth.
We were ready. We were going to make the play.
Me and Plank were going to fight for it.
Tristan Turlington behind here, 1 ball and 2 strikes as Deal looking to leave a couple stranded. And the runner takes off, trying to steal and catch Deal sleeping. And Deal makes the play at third to throw out Agbayani. And it looks like Deal heads up play in the circle.
I'm loving the gutsiness out of this BYU offense, just being so aggressive in all aspects of offense. You don't see a team come out and do something like that. That delayed steal to an OU defense, that is bold. Kind of looks from this angle like she might have got in.
As the call is under review, right now the call is out at third base. I think it's going to come down. We don't have every single camera angle up here in the booth, but I think it depends on which one you're looking at, because
it's got to be indisputable.
And BYU just continuing to apply pressure.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter offensively, defensively. And here's the call. And it is going to stand. Agbayani thrown out at third. Deal with the heads-up play. But BYU continues the scoring streak, puts another on the board to make it 4-2. This is OU Softball, presented by OU Health. And Sydney Sanders looking to get something going here in the bottom of the fourth. And ground ball through the 5-6 hole. And going to be a lead-off single for Sid Sanders to bring up Riley Boone. We're going to see a pinch runner for Sanders. A good piece of hitting from the junior, using the dirt, as Maya Bland is set to pinch run, and Riley Boone looking to get some things done offensively for the Sooners. Started the rally and came around to score back in the third. And ground ball. Ava's going to take it herself. And Bland to move up into scoring position. Ava didn't even look to get the lead runner, but Maya Bland off immediately. Right play.
Just got to get the out. Maya Bland, with the speed she's got, the speed Boone's got, you just got to get the for sure out.
Jada Coleman comes to the plate, flew out to left field back in the third. And Mara is pulling that off speed out of her pocket, and you can kind of see the frustration from the BYU battery of not getting the call on the changeup.
Yeah, I think that's a pitch that she's kind of fighting for that one. She wants these hitters to chase.
Saw that same pitch in a bases loaded situation in the third. The changeup called a ball to Cassidy Pickering, which brought a run around to score, but Mara is really trying to find the strike zone with that changeup, and she's nibbling with it. It's close as Coleman shows bunt. And bunt straight through, and Mara's ahead here, a ball and 2 strikes. This ball laced to left field. Bejarano is going to make the catch right in front of the warning track. And struck well, but right at Bejarano, positioned perfectly.
She was, barely had to move out there. Really well hit ball by Jada Coleman, just right at Bejarano.
And just like that, 2 quick outs to follow up the leadoff single as Jennings stands in. Maya Bland at second base. And Jennings looking for her first hit of the night. Lined out to center field in the third. Grounded out into a fielder's choice back in the first. And Mares behind here, 2 balls and no strikes.
Mares giving up that single to Sanders and facing 3 seniors. She can put this inning away. That's a big accomplishment for the freshman.
And Mares has left runners stranded every single inning and works her way back into this count to even it up at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
There's that pitch. Taking some speed off. She's been trying to find the zone with that pitch.
Hit well to center field, and it's going to get out of here. Tiare Jennings ties this ball game up with 1 swing of the bat. Should be Tiare Jennings getting the job done with 2 outs and 2 strikes.
And there is nothing you can do about that. Tiare just sending that pitch right out. That is a definite miss by Mares.
Negan out to have a chat with his freshman and settle her down. And Mares has been so good in this game. We talked about it in the open. You can't defend walks and you can't defend home runs. And that has been the difference maker in this game.
Yeah, and I think, we even talked about the OU offense and wanting to see them manufacture more runs. And in this situation, they were able to capitalize on that one miss hit, that one timely hit, changed up the game so much. They're not necessarily having to manufacture so much by finding the gaps and working the base paths. It's that one swing, that one miss.
That home run marks Jennings' 16th on the year, seeing that RBI number continue to climb, her 51st on the season. And Mares seeing that pitch count get to 80 again. The ball to strike ratio almost 50-50. It's behind here, 3 straight balls to Alyssa Brito. You hear the term, Destiny, sometimes effectively wild. Mares at times has just been lights out hammering the zone, and then all of a sudden we'll see 4, 5, 6 balls in a row.
I think a lot more is going into her performance. I think now the tied ball game, it's almost like you've got to start over. We're seeing a lot more energy out of this OU dugout.
And that walk to burrito is the 6th in this ball game for Mares, a season high for her. And really, what, if anything, the biggest blemish in this game has been walks for Mares. You've got the home run from Jennings, but the other runs put up on the board by way of the walk, and that looks like it's going to be the day for Mares as BYU is going to make the call to their bullpen. And another pitcher that this team hasn't seen. We're going to tell you more about that when we come back. But the Sooners knotted up with a 2-run shot from the senior, Tiare Jennings. We're tied up at 4. This is OU softball. Agbayani. And a couple of defensive shifts for BYU as Haley Morrow goes to shortstop. And senior Macy Simmons in behind the plate. And Agbayani, as we mentioned, starting shortstop, leading hitter for this BYU team, but can spin it a little bit too.
Yeah, Agbayani is about 62 miles per hour. She's able to spot the ball in and out. Curve, screw, and drop ball. So we'll see a good mix here. It's funny because Coach Eakin really just referred to her as the shortstop who can pitch. So it'll be good. Excited to see what she's working with.
I think that's selling her a little bit short.
Yeah, I do too.
The shortstop that can pitch and, I don't know, hit 420.
She can kind of do a little bit of everything.
No big deal.
Let's see what she could do to Ella Parker here.
Seventh walk delivered by BYU pitching to bring up Kinsey Hansen. Haley Morrow, as we mentioned, has moved to short. Morrow has started both games behind the plate. And Macy Simmons in behind the plate. And we've talked so much as Kinsey Hansen stands in. We've talked so much about this BYU pitching staff and having to get creative as far as having arms in the circle, but that also, I mean, it wreaks havoc on your defense too when you're having to move your shortstop into the circle.
Yeah, they're definitely battling some adversity. 2 of their pitchers are on a pitch count, unable to throw full games.
And ground ball back to Agbayani. Feels it like a shortstop. And takes care of Hansen. But not before the Sooners tie it up at 4. Fourth, BYU put their 4th run on the board. But Tiare Jennings answers back for the Sooners. And here we are in the 5th, tied up at 4. And Kirsten Deal trying to hang the first 0 for Sooner pitching in this game. And BYU has been relentless at the plate. Tristan Turlington entered this game in the 4th in a pinch hit situation. And her at bat cut short after Agbayani was thrown out trying to delay steal, I should say, but thrown out at 3rd.
2 wild pitches. And Turlington just willing to swing. I mean, they are just aggressive. If that ball is anywhere near the zone, they are hacking. We just saw 2 wild pitches. You'd think, maybe I'm not going to swing at this next one.
And Turlington taking the 2-1 right down Broadway. And Deal even it up at 2-2. And, you know, Destiny, you talk about how aggressive this team has been, and it hasn't mattered. It hasn't mattered the count. It hasn't mattered the situation. And we're not just seeing the aggressiveness in the box, but trying to apply pressure on the base paths.
Yeah, BYU looks like a different team from yesterday, what we saw. Not super aggressive.
Good location from Deal, just misses outside. We have not seen that pitch be a strike all day.
I feel the fans getting a little frustrated with Jerry Jones behind the plate. Seeing a little bit more inconsistency the last 2 innings.
Hit well to left field, and it's going to go directly over the foul pole. Long foul ball for Turlington, and Deal may have gotten away with one there.
Yeah, Deal. Got to recognize that. You cannot afford a miss here. Keep the ball down. We see the power in Turlington. That was a long foul ball.
And Turlington does not have a home run on the year, and just missed one by a few feet. But we're going to do the 3-2 again. Deal rocks and fires, misses in the dirt, and it's a leadoff walk to start the 5th. And that'll bring up senior Hunter Ava.
Kind of a rough outing for this pitching staff. Quite a few walks.
3 walks delivered by OU pitching today. 2 hit by pitches, and you know, again, we've talked so much about the free passes. 5 in total. We've also seen 1 defensive error. So I mean, you lump all that together. That's 6 base runners that have reached without having to really make the defense work. And Coach Gasso makes her way, and we are going to see another pitching change. Looks like Keeney. We'll tell you more about it when we come back. This is OU Softball, presented by OU Health.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of us?
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Ooh, yes, problem. You need Verizon. Get the new iPhone 15 Pro with...
All of their hits have been line drives. Seen a ball leave the yard as well. I mean, it's a team that has power and puts the ball in the air. So Keeney, a good matchup here, trying to force these hitters to put the ball on the ground and let this stellar OU defense work. And BYU gone to the bench as well, as Lauren Flanders is pinch running at first base. And Keeney falls behind here, 2 balls and a strike. What has been the story for Sooner pitching and BYU pitching? I mean, let's be real, so many hitters counts in this ball game.
See Keeney really trying to paint that inside corner, get that call. Jerry Jones behind the plate has not been that consistent towards the last 2 innings of this game. So we've got to be careful with what we're trying to do here.
Another walk delivered, and Ava is aboard to bring up Lily Owens. Flanders moves into scoring position. 6th free pass delivered by Sooner pitching here tonight. 4th walk, 2 hit by pitches. And Sooners in a jam again as BYU threatens, as they have done every single inning in this game, with runners at first and second and nobody out. As Lily Owens stands in. Owens 0 for 1, had a sac fly back in the 3rd. And Keeney missing big.
Yeah.
Good job by Kinsey Hansen.
She's got to find the zone here. First hitter she faced, and Hunter Alva. So 4 balls, 1 foul ball.
And BYU going to the bench again. Abby Gillespie. Pinch running at first. It's the 1-1, misses low.
We see her consistently missing on that pitch, that down and in. I'd love to see an adjustment here. She's got to find a way to get that ball up.
This is popped up on the infield right at Keeney. And that's a big out. And a hitter's count to sit down Owens. Now to bring up the DP, Maddie Udall. Udall 0 for 2 here tonight. But a .311 hitter on the season. And Coach Rocha out to the circle again to have a chat with Keeney and her defense. And what do you think the message is here, Destiny?
Just, you've got to stay on your feet. As a defense right now, it's kind of slow for them. They've got to stay alive. You've got to get Keeney to throw some pitches a little closer to the zone. But I think for the entire defense, they've been kind of slow. Haven't seen too much action. A lot of pitches are being thrown. Everybody's got to stay alive in this situation. Keeney's got to find the zone here.
And just to kind of put this in perspective, entering this game, OU pitching had only surrendered 75 walks on the year. 4 walks here tonight to make it 79. You add the 2 hit by pitches, but out of character for this staff. And Udall taking a hack, but Keeney hitting a pretty good spot.
Yeah, really good spot. And Udall just a little bit late to contact here. But we see her slowly trying to find her timing with the foul ball she's got going to the right side of the field. She's trying to get that timing down and find a good pitch. that's what Coach Eakin would like to see. I mean, all of his hitters have been in there battling the counts.
You know, and Dusty, I feel like we've talked so much about how aggressive this BYU offense has been in this game, but they've also been composed. And ground ball to the right side. Avery Hodge is going to go for the lead runner and try to turn two. Not quite in time.
We may see a review here.
And Udall beat it out as Kayla Kamoku is due up. Avery Hodge so smooth defensively, but Coach Eakin having a quick conversation with home plate umpire Jerry Jones. Runners at first and third, 2 outs for BYU.
Shocked they didn't ask for a review. We see the coaches down in the dugout signing for the headset.
Move it on, and Keeney ahead. No balls and a strike to Kamoku. It was kind of an interesting little pause there, Destiny. I agree. We saw some of the coaches in the dugouts kind of signing as Udall takes off. First and third. Here comes the throw. And Flanders is safe at the plate. And the scoring streak continues for BYU. What a jump by Flanders on the throw, and BYU takes the lead 5-4.
And that's a perfectly executed first and third play. You draw the attention from your catcher. I mean, there was no question there. She was safe out.
By Flanders.
Great slide, but a little bit of a delay from Hodge. And really Kinsey getting that ball out of her hand for Hodge to make the play back in time. They were beat.
BYU putting up a run every inning to regain the lead here in the fifth. Two, and the count runs full.
And that's such a tough play because as you're on defense, you have it made up in your mind what you're doing in that situation. In that situation, Hansen knew she was throwing to Hodge. I think if Kinsey would have looked over at third, she would have seen the break.
That walk is the third delivered in this inning. Puts the free pass number at 7. So far in the game, and I'm gonna bring up Haley Morrow. Morrow, 1 for 1, had a double and came around to score. Drew a walk back in the second. Keeney looking to get right in the circle. Let's take another look at the first and third play by BYU. And Avery Hodge cutting through. Comes Udall. The throw from Coleman. And Udall is safe at the plate. BYU strikes again, makes it 6-4. Sooners in close play at the plate.
Really close play, perfectly executed by Jada Coleman. What a great throw coming in and just not in time. Again, this BYU offense.
Aaliyah Agbayani stands in. And you took the words right out of my mouth, Destiny. The slide. And we've seen it a couple times. We've seen it at the plate on the first and third. We've seen it on sacrifice flies, a couple stolen bases. This is a BYU team. We've talked so highly about what they're doing with the sticks. They're doing the little things well.
Yeah.
On the base paths.
You've got to execute the little things on offense if you're going to give up the freebies on defense.
And this should do it as Agbayani is thrown out, but BYU puts up a crooked number. Welcome back. We go to the bottom of the fifth. You're tuned in to Sooner Vision on ESPN Plus OU Softball, brought to you by Courtyard by Marriott. And this has been a wild one, folks. Sooners trail 6-4, and I feel like we've seen a little bit of it all as Pickering stands in. And BYU going back to the starter and Gianna Mares. Mares was pulled from this game, but has re-entered. And again, Destiny, there are so many things to unpack with this ball game.
It has been a lot more active than what you typically see here at Love's Field. There's a lot more action, a lot more runners, a lot more base hits, a lot more defensive plays having to be made. And I like the idea of bringing Mares back in. I feel like she just needed a break. She needed to get out of the situation she was in. But I think she's a competitor. She looks fierce out on the mound. She wants to be there. She wants to finish this out.
And Mares, again, if anything has been an issue, it has been the walks and working behind in counts. But I'm with you, Destiny, just the competitiveness coming from Mares, and that has bled over into every aspect of BYU's game here tonight.
They are not afraid. They came out swinging. There has been quite a few freebies given up by Mares, but she's been able to hold them to 4 runs. 2 of them coming from one swing of the bat. That was a missed pitch by Mares.
Agbayani goes back to short, who was in the circle last inning, and another walk delivered by Mares, and we've said it over and over and over, and it hasn't just been Mares, it has been all over in the circle tonight as far as free passes go, but another walk delivered to bring up what would be Avery Hodges' spot, but we are going to see Alina Torres in the pinch hitting role. And that is the 7th walk by Mares here tonight. And Torres, 366 on the year.
Both teams giving up tons of freebies.
And Hannah Core into pinch run at first base. Sooners looking to chip away. BYU up 6-4. Torres has seen some time in the starting lineup. Hodge getting the start at second base tonight. And as we've seen so much tonight, a lot of meetings in the circle, and rightfully so. In what has been a high-scoring game, so many of these runs have been because of walks. And as you mentioned, 7 delivered by BYU pitching. Make that 8. Math has not always been my strong suit. 8 walks delivered by BYU pitching. And OU pitchers have had their fair share of free passes as well.
A couple hit by pitches on their end. Quite a few walks.
13 walks combined between both teams in this game. A couple of hit by pitches as well. Suarez finds the zone.
Coach Eakin is very positive about their offense. I think the biggest concern coming to Norman was limiting the free passes and playing the solid defense. I feel like they've been pretty good on defense.
Yep.
In the chances that they're given to make some plays, but it's the walks.
Suarez behind here, 3 balls and a strike. And counter run full.
It's tough coming to Norman, playing against an offense like OU. You don't necessarily want to throw a strike. It's dangerous.
Sooners just 5 hits on the evening. As the 3-2 loops in and just misses inside. Back-to-back walks for Mares as she has re-entered this game. And that'll bring up Sydney Sanders. Runners at first and second, nobody out. Torres at first represents the tying run in this ballgame. Sanders 1 for 2 here tonight, had a single back in the 4th and came around to score. And Core's going to take off and get thrown out at third base as she tries to take third on the ball in the dirt and commits the cardinal sin of getting thrown out at third.
You've got to be sure. I like the aggressiveness. I like the thought, but you've got to be sure.
And it was no doubt as Core was thrown out by a good 2 feet. And you saw a little bit of emotion from Coach Gasso.
It's frustrating. That's something, when Hannah Core is given that opportunity to be a pinch runner,
And line drive, and it's a double play as Agbayani fires across, and BYU gets out of it. Back-to-back walks, and out at third, and just like that, BYU on Agbayani. And line drive to left field, and Agbayani is aboard.
She is having herself a day, making plays defensively, being called upon in the circle. 2 doubles on the day.
Three for 4 night for Agbayani. Again, doing a little bit of it all. Just got BYU out of A jam as Bejarano lays down the bunt and executed perfectly to move Agbayani up into scoring position.
They're doing the little things well. Bejarano just having to move her runner. Perfectly executed bunt. It's not a ball that any defender could pick up and get the lead runner. Perfectly placed.
And Lauren Flanders, who pinch ran last inning, will stay in this ball game. Shows bunt, but fouls it back. So many lefties in this BYU lineup. Flanders, one of them. A .333 hitter on the season. And we've talked a lot about BYU and the power. I mean, multiple doubles in this game, home run as well, but they have also executed the short game. And Flanders a slapper. But BYU just continuing to find ways to put pressure on this defense.
Just aggressive. They're swinging a lot. Swinging early in the count, often.
Flanders stays alive. Keeney ahead here, no balls and 2 strikes. Flanders continuing to battle in the box. BYU leader in RBI on deck, and Hunter Ava.
Flanders just fouling everything off, just keeping herself alive. This would be a good opportunity for Keeney to mix in some speeds.
Well, change the eyes, right? I mean, 0-2, multiple foul balls coming from the slapper.
She's got some room to work with. No balls here.
Change quadrants. There it is. A 1-2 is going to get down in front of Boone. And Flanders, a 1-out single to put runners at first and third for BYU's RBI leader, Hunter Ava. And Ava enters this game with 49 RBI. And a conversation being had by third base umpire Sergio Villarreal and home plate umpire Jerry Jones. And they're going to say that Flanders was out of the box. Agbayani is going to be placed back at second base. And Flanders is out.
That is a play, from my understanding, that will not be reviewed. It cannot be reviewed.
And just like that, tables have turned and Ava gets jammed, and the Sooners hang the first goose egg of the game. We go to the bottom of the 6th. BYU on top, 6-4. As we've noticed and talked about so much in this game, having a hard time finding the zone. That ball to strike ratio right at 50%, and this looks like it's going to be the night for Mares. BYU is going to go to the bullpen Cougars on top 6-4. This is OU softball brought to you by OU Health.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of us?
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Ooh, yes, problem. You need Verizon. Trade in that old thing and get a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage, so you can take all the pics. So many selfies.
A preposterous amount of panos!
That means panoramic. And as many portraits of me as your heart desires.
How about none?
None feels right.
Trade in any iPhone in any condition and get iPhone 15 Pro on us. Only on Verizon.
Some people just know that the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Because you are not doing this. Save a...
Here to Riley Boone. And Dolly, a much different look than Mares. But this BYU staff showing the confidence they have in their young pitchers here tonight. And walks a little bit of an issue for Dolly in game one. This ground ball is going to get through as Riley Boone has her second base hit of the night. To roll it back over to Jada Coleman.
Boone is just seeing the ball so well. That's not typically a good pitch. Just working her way through the infield to find herself on base.
And Coleman looking for her first hit of the night. Has hit the ball hard. Back in the third, flew out to left. Hit a line shot right at Bejarano, who was in left field at the time. But seeing the ball well, just not able to get anything to fall. And Dolly in a pitcher's count here, no balls and 2 strikes. It popped up on the infield, and Agbayani will take care of it, and Jada Coleman is retired for the 3rd time here tonight. And Kate Dolly, a gutsy pitch coming in on the hands of Jada Coleman in 0-2.
I like it though.
I'm with you.
I like you've got to do whatever it takes. Keeping the ball in the zone is tough, but finding a pitch where they'll swing and it's not going to be great contact.
Jennings, a big moment back in the 4th, where she hit a 2-run bomb to tie this game at 4. And BYU followed it up with a crooked number of their own. Dolly rocks and fires, and this gets away. Boone is going to move up to second base on the wild pitch. And Dolly behind here, 3 balls and no strikes. Runner at second, 1 out. And it's a 4-pitch walk to Jennings. 9th tonight.
Boone almost took off on that, not realizing there's no one behind her. Stay at second base.
Alyssa Brito comes to the plate. Brito, 3 walks here tonight. Of the 9, 3 of them belong to Alyssa Brito. That ball, 5 straight balls. And here are the Big 12 walk leaders. As far as pitchers go, Mares, 54 on the season, 8 of those tallied up here tonight. And Kate Daly in the top 4 as well. And you know, we've talked about it a ton, Destiny, as Daly's behind here, 2 balls and no strikes. I feel like we see the youth of this BYU staff a little bit with those high walk numbers.
Yeah. And I think BYU has really learned how to play behind all of the walks. They know they need to produce a ton of runs because of the freebies that their pitching staff is giving up. They know they need to be on point defensively because of the freebies that their pitching staff has given up. So I think that, you know, it's no secret here. What's shocking to me is the amount of freebies that OU has given up.
Yeah.
You don't typically see that. But I think for BYU, this is how they play. This is how they operate. They're familiar with a lot of freebies, having to play defensively and having to produce a lot of runs.
Riley Boone getting these Sooner fans on their feet as Love's Field comes to life. Packed house here tonight. And it's been a wild one. Seeing a little bit of everything. And the 2-0 is in for a called strike. You know, when you mentioned that, Destiny, talking about how this is a team that is used to trying to outscore teams. If you look at some of the games they've won and some of the games they've lost, I mean, it is winning games 17-15. And a big change of speeds fools Brito to even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. But this BYU team is winning games by outscoring people, but they're also losing games. They lost a game back on April 9th, 12-10 to Utah Valley. So,
And one thing, I mean, they've given OU 8 walks, and they've only allowed 4 runs on the board.
and popped up in foul territory. Ava is underneath it to make the catch. And 2 outs here in the 6th, and Ava doing a good job. Had to go a long way for that ball, playing behind first base to bring up the freshman Ella Parker. And we have seen this all game tonight. Sooners getting the leadoff batter on, whether it be a walk or a hit, and then 2 quick outs.
Yeah. They have not capitalized on the leadoff runners or leadoff batters getting on walks. I mean, again, there's been 8 walks in this game and only 4 runs have been scored.
Hit well to left field, but Flanders is underneath it, and BYU works around another lead-off hit. We go to the 7th inning. BYU on top, 6-4. This is OU softball from OU Health. And BYU continuing to find ways to get on base any way they can. A tough play for Jennings in the 5-6 hole.
Really tough play. She had to cover some ground there, but having to come up and make that play, got to be on point, got to be quick.
That is the 9th hit for BYU here tonight, out hitting the Sooners 9-6. As Udall shows bunt, Hansen is going to get the lead runner at second base. And that's a big time play from the catcher. And the bunt not executed tremendously.
Yeah, really good job by Kinsey Hansen just coming out of the box, barehanding that ball.
And Hansen taking a moment in a little bit of pain. You kind of see her going down to that knee.
She's getting worked back there. She's having a lot of plays to be made at the plate today. Coming off a slight injury.
And Coach Gasso checking in on Hansen. And that's always a moment. I mean, the bunt by Udall directly on the plate, and Hansen doing a great job popping out to get the lead out and spoil the sack. But
she has been busy back there. There's been quite a few first and third plays, a couple of wild pitches she's having to defend and block. Say 2-3 plays at the plate.
and pinch runner Lexi Bennett at first for BYU. As Kayla Kamoku stands in, and Kamoku 1 for 2 here tonight. Had a solo home run in the second, drew a walk back in the fifth. Keeney looking to keep this game in check and give the Sooners a chance in the bottom half. Little check swing, and they're going to say Kamoku held. I think she did. It has been all energy coming from that BYU dugout since the first pitch of this ball game. Nearing the 3-hour mark as this is lifted down the right field line and out of play into the bullpen as Hannah Core gave chase. But rolling over the 2-hour and 40-minute mark with this game here tonight.
I don't know if we've seen a 3-up, 3-down inning.
We have not on either side of the ball. As a 2-2, this is low and in to run the count full. Payoff pitch from Keeney, laced down the left field line, fair. And Kamoku has herself a 2-hit night. Make it 10 hits for the Cougars to bring up Haley Morrow. And teams combined here tonight. This is outrageous. 15 walks, 15 hits. Kamoku's makes it 16 hits.
I mean, that is unbelievable.
The fact that there's only 10 runs on the board combined, and line drive is gonna be spoiled as the throw gets away, and here comes the runner, and she will score on the air by Keeney. Cougars make it 7-4. Carly Keeney an opportunity to get out of the inning. Kamoku dead to rights at first on the line drive, and wild throw second error of the night committed by the Sooners.
There is just a ton happening. I mean, it was a good throw to Sanders. She just seems to...
Another pinch runner coming in for BYU. BYU has used nearly every player on their bench here tonight in some way or another, as Taryn Lennon, the senior, heads out to second base to pinch run for Kamoku. BYU adds to their lead on the air. And Aaliyah Agbayani stands in.
It's tough. I feel like you haven't seen this OU defense having to perform so much in a game. We've seen some of these plays have really shed some light on some things that they've got to focus on. They've been exposed a little bit on first and third plays. We've seen some overthrows. We've seen some tags that I'd like to see. You got to expect that the runners are going to go to the outside part of the bag. You got to prepare for that.
BYU exposing what has been one of the cleanest, probably the cleanest defense in the country.
Yeah.
So the 2-2 is laced off of the Sooner dugout, and a little bit of a scary moment as a couple of the Sooners were standing in that opening. Everyone looks to be okay. Checking the reflexes in the dugout. But Agbayani stays alive, and big at bat here for Keeney. This is hit well to right center field. Off the wall, a run will score, and Agbayani has herself an RBI double to make it 8-4 BYU. And roll the lineup back over to the top.
I mean, they are having themselves a time. Just coming out and being aggressive. That ball was just left right over the plate.
Down the line to score her sister to make it 9-4. BYU absolutely hammering at the plate. Their 12th hit on the night, and Agbayani has a 4-hit night, going 4 for 5.
Incredible. I think this OU come out and be this aggressive, and then you factor in the free passes.
This BYU offense has not stopped, and the Sooners are going to go to the bullpen. That'll be the night for Keeney. We've got ourselves a pitching change. Looks like S.J. Gearin. We'll tell you more about it when we come back. This is OU Softball, brought to you by OU Health.
Longer. More new sandwiches and salads, more in every bite, and more new options under $10.
BYU has come out, they've shown something that not a lot to OU. But offensively, OU hasn't done much either. They have been given so many opportunities. They've put 4 runs on the board, and that just doesn't mix well when you're also given some freebies. You've got 2 errors. You've given up collectively 7 free passes.
11 hits from BYU here tonight. I misspoke. I'm saying 12 earlier, but 11. And Guerin, a little bit of a different look, spins the ball really well. As this is skied high to right field, and that'll do it, but not before BYU puts up 3 to extend their lead, 9-4. Final call for the Sooners. 6 hits for the Sooners. 9 walks delivered by BYU pitching. Kinsey Hansen set to lead it off here, but you know, when you think about it from a pitching standpoint, one of the things that you always talk about and you always think about is take care of the leadoff batter of the inning.
Yeah.
And BYU pitchers have not done that tonight, and it's one of those stats that you track. It's one of those things you pay attention to, and it is so difficult to win a ball game when your pitcher is putting on the leadoff runner of the inning every inning.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing the fact that BYU has held OU to 4 runs knowing they've had the leadoff hitter on every inning, and literally every inning, as Kinsey Hansen is aboard with a lead-off single. 7 for 7 are the Sooners in getting the leadoff on this game. Now to bring up Cassidy Pickering. And that is Hansen's 3rd hit here tonight. Hansen, a 3 for 4 night. And it looks like we're going to see a pinch runner here for the captain. And Riley Ludlam. And I feel like this is a strategic move from Coach Gasso as well. If the Sooners are able to tie this up and this game extends, Ludlam can also go behind the plate.
Yeah.
But a lot of work to do if that's going to be the case, as the Sooners trail 9-4. And Pickering has drawn 2 walks here tonight. Been stranded both times. And BYU pitcher Kate Daly, the freshman, looking to shut this game out and close the door. Just misses inside.
Those are good pitches.
Catcher Haley Morrow heading out to have a chat. And I'm with you, Destiny. Pretty good location.
Yeah, you see Daly kind of laughing and sense a little frustration on those calls. And again, it's tough. You've got to pound the zone. Don't want to walk anybody in this situation.
You know, and I feel like Destiny is something we haven't spoken about a lot, that I feel like is part of this. I mean, we've talked. People are probably tired of hearing us say it. There have been a lot of walks in this game. But it's not because the strike zone has been squeezed.
Right.
It's not. I feel like the river has not been there all game. Coupled with, if you're not consistently working ahead in counts and hammering the zone, you don't get the river.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it goes. The 2-2 is struck well to center field, but not going to be enough as Zavadnik gloves it for the first out of the inning. And BYU is 2 outs away from picking up the win. As Alina Torres comes to the plate. Torres drew a walk back in the 5th. And a big hack from Torres as Daly fools her on the off speed.
Really good pitch. You can come out starting with that. It could be pretty effective. We didn't see too many of those today. That's that pitch that they want, that call.
It's a good location.
Yeah, we've seen it a lot tonight.
Has not been a strike consistently. As Daly fires the 1-1. Hayden Morrow doing a good job behind the plate. Spent a couple batters at short and has gone back behind the plate as Coach Gordon Eakin out to have a conversation with first base umpire Chris Neighbors. A lot of movement in this game. And it looks like we're going to have a review to see if Ludlam left early at first base.
Okay, this review has been done a lot recently.
You can't knock the gamemanship. I mean,
no, you cannot leave early.
And there's been a lot of chatter about how people feel about this, but at the end of the day, Destiny, you're completely right. It's part of the game. It's a rule. You can't leave early.
Yeah.
Now, not to say that Ludlam did.
Right. But we have seen it overturned way more than I'd like to see it. I think it's become a little ridiculous, exposing how many girls are leaving early.
And doing it in positions, too, where their base runner really doesn't mean a lot.
Right, yeah. I mean, you're not going anywhere. Every call I've seen, it's not on a steal.
Nope. And
it's on a hit that maybe there was a score, a runner scored. I mean, it's in situations where it's really meaningful.
And here's a look at it right now. I do not see Ludlam leaving early. We see that movement, and as the ball is being released, her foot is still on the bag.
I think she's good on that one. And that may be the first one I've seen where it's not overturned.
If anything, she may have been a hair late.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see the official call here, but I have seen way too many ladies leaving that bag early, and it's not even on a steal. It's just on a costly hit where the run doesn't count. All the runners got to go back. I mean, if you're not going anywhere, don't leave early.
And I think that's something that is going to be probably hammered home by every program in the country. And this is a good view of it right here. And call's going to stay as it was, and it's the right call. Ludlam not getting caught, as so many have this season. But I've got to say, BYU 2 outs away from putting away the Sooners here in Norman. It's worth taking a look at.
Yeah, and I mean, what that would have done to any momentum that could be created here, because you never know with a lineup like OU, at any point in time, something can spark.
Line drive into center field is going to get down. Ludlam will move up to second, but Torres keeping hopes alive. And a good piece of hitting. And I'm going to go back to your key, Destiny, because it means more right now than it has ever in this game. You've got to pass the bat.
Got to pass the torch. We have not seen that, at least from the OU side. I mean, we've seen now 8 hits, but when they're given free opportunities, there was not a lot of movement.
Sid Sanders stands in. 1 for 3 with a run scored. Hit the ball well back in the 5th. Lined out into what was a double play that got BYU out of an inning. That pitch just misses outside. And you can see the frustration from Kate Daly. Looking for the pitch on the black that hasn't been there all game. To Sid Sanders. And you can feel the tension at Love's Field right now. Sooners trail. They have a lot of ground to make up. One swing of the bat is not going to get it done.
Quite a few fans have left. I haven't seen that.
This game rolling over the 3-hour mark. It's a 2-2, and Sanders stays alive. Not too often we see games extend over 3 hours. And this game has definitely done it. Good take by Sid Sanders as the count runs full. The 3-2. And Sid Sanders seeing a lot of pitches. Sanders ended the game last night on a 3-run home run. Starting to see the ball well. Three-two. Popped up to center field. Zavodnik gloves it, and BYU is 1 out away. BYU is 1 out away from taking down another top 5 team. The last one was over Oklahoma State on March 22nd, 11-8. And BYU turning it on when they come to the state of Oklahoma.
I mean, they have done a great job tonight. But 11-8, we see that high-scoring game. That is what they're used to.
Riley Boone, final hope here for the Sooners, as BYU is 1 out away from delivering the first Big 12 home loss to OU since April 23rd, 2017. That ball gets away and everybody moves up. And I believe the call was a strike on Boone. Runners at second and third, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th.
It's a big pitch here.
Kate Daly has been good since she's come into this ball game. has worked around a couple of walks, a couple of base hits. She has not been perfect, but she has found a way to get herself out of jams. She brings the 1-2, misses in the dirt. And the way this game has gone, we've talked so much about BYU pitching and the walks and some of the craziness that has happened in this ballgame on both sides. But Haley Morrow, BYU catcher, has done a tremendous job behind the plate. Dally rocks and fires. Skied high to right field, and up Guyani is going to glove it, and BYU takes down the Sooners 9-4. This is their second top 5 win this season. And this BYU team came in and controlled this game and controlled the momentum.
They did. From the second they stepped out on this field, they were aggressive. They set the tone. They set the tempo. They came out totally different team from last night. Ready to play, not afraid of losing, not afraid of competition. They did a great job coming out and really just setting the tone of what they want this game to look like.